Hello, Destiny of Christian Church. So glad to be with you today. And I want to talk to you today about why rear view mirrors are meant to be small. And there's a danger inherent in all of us where we sometimes can spend more time looking back than looking forward. And that's why these mirrors are small, because they're meant to be references, not navigational guides. And now imagine for a minute going 100 miles an hour while staring at your rearview mirror. You probably wouldn't last long, would you? And yet, sometimes we do that. We live more in the past, in what was, than what is now. And that can never be God's will. We find in the scriptures more and often that God, Paul said, forgetting what's behind, I press on towards the mark. But we can go forward while focusing on the rear view mirror of our lives, in a spiritual sense. And this is one of the biggest problems that the Israelites had. As I'm rereading the Old Testament after how many times I've read it through the years, but the Israelites, they kept looking back to Egypt, especially when there were problems and when they were upset about something or discomforted and kind of struggling. They would look back to what was, and they were afraid, and they were kind of thinking about the last place where they maybe felt comfortable, even if it was a place of bondage. And that's the irony of it, that even if the place was rough, even if we didn't like it, it was familiar, so maybe we want it. And so they cried out to God, and they told Moses, hey, Moses, weren't there enough cemeteries for us, in Egypt, for us to die in Egypt? In other words, there were cemeteries in Egypt. Why didn't we just die there quietly? Why do we want to die in this wilderness? Why have you done this to us? Why have you taken us out of Egypt? And as I've been saying before about Moses and Israel, their story in the desert is so much about our journey in God, about how that sometimes works. And we can sometimes be tempted to look back at, with rosy eyes at what was, even if it was a bondage God took us out of or a situation God delivered us from, because maybe right now it's too hot, it's too uncomfortable, it's too fearsome. But the purpose of the rearview mirror, back to that illustration, is simply this, that there's a reason why rearview mirrors are small, because we're not to fixate on them, only glance at them. Hence the old saying goes something like this: the past can be a guidepost or a hitching post. It's up to you. If it's a hitching post, it means that you're relying so much on your past that you can't press on it to the future. And so in the scriptures, the only time where God, excuse me, I have something in my throat. I had some nuts earlier, and I think there's a little piece in my throat. But in the scriptures, the only time that God wants you to look back in the past is when you celebrate His faithfulness, where you've been, and also when we note, lessons learned. When like the psalmist said, "I will never forget my afflictions, because with them you've quickened me." And in that sense, we can look back as references, but not as navigation, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to challenge you: don't live your life looking back, but look forward to what God has, so that you won't miss it. So check out the website and YouTube and our Facebook, and enjoy it. And you'll find sermons and things like that on there from myself and other people. And so till next time, so great to be with you. God bless.